France is a massive country and definitely worth exploring, and more than just Paris. Good morning. Today I'm traveling from here in Florence, Italy. I'm going to take you with me to France. And along the way, I'm going to give you my tips for traveling to France and in France. Now let's go. All'aeroporto. And at the airport. Grazie. Ciao, ciao. I mentioned it in my last video as well in my Italian travel tips, but basically travel light. Europe doesn't have big, wide sidewalks, so you're gonna be pulling around your baggage a lot, going from the taxi to your hotel, from the train station, getting to where you need to go. You're gonna find yourself carrying around your luggage, and you don't wanna have big luggage. On the trains, there's not much space to put your luggage. In the hotels, sometimes you don't have much space to open up your luggage at all, so the lighter you pack, the better. Sono su quello volo. It's on the flight to Paris. Made it through security. The airports are getting busy these summer months, so make sure you get to the airport on time. And in fact, give yourself extra time as well, because you'll need it. The lines are long, the check-in takes a lot of time, the security takes time, everything takes more time. You need to think about which airport you fly to in France. Well, in France, basically all flights go to Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. That's the big major hub if you're flying in and out of France. You can also get flights to other smaller cities like Marseille, like Nice, and like Toulouse. Traveling in the south, if you want to go down to the southwest, fly into Toulouse. If you want to see the Côte d'Azur, get a flight to Nice. But if you're coming from the United States, chances are you gotta fly through Paris Charles de Gaulle. Now, the great thing about the Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport is that even if Paris is not your final destination, if you want to fly to other places in Europe, Paris serves you well. Now, the great thing in Europe is that you can fly almost anywhere. Almost all flights are around 2 to 3 hours. Today, this flight from Florence to Paris Charles de Gaulle, 2 hours. And so if you're already in Europe, it's easy to book a flight to get to Paris or to get to France. It's a matter of booking one of these local flights from Berlin, from Barcelona, from Lisbon, and you can get a 1-day, 2-day, 3-day, easy, quick trip to France and see the great country. Flights in and out of Italy, you still gotta wear your I made it here to Paris. Now keep in mind the COVID rules. Although in Italy you no longer need to show a negative test or vaccination CDC card, in France this summer you still have to show either a vaccination card or a negative coronavirus test to enter the country. So my final destination's not Paris. I simply have a layover. I'm going to Lyon, and that's a city down in the southeast of France. I have about 40 minutes before my next flight. I guess I should explain why I'm going to Lyon. Well, it's a bicycle race, the Critérium du Dauphiné. And it's a big race. It's a warm-up race for the Tour de France, so all the cycling stars will be there. It's a really cool bike race. It takes place in the Alps down that way. Oh, look at this place. I have dreams of this place. This is the Air France Lounge in Terminal F. Love that place. Unfortunately, there's no time to lounge today, so I just gotta rush to the gate. Always time for a quick Starbucks. Brown. Just a quick note, when you come to a country like France, learn a few phrases in the local language. It can really help you go a long way. For example, always say bonjour when you meet someone, or je m'appelle Gregor, my name is Gregor, or simply merci, and that means thank you. And also s'il vous plaît, please, un café s'il vous plaît. Just to rewind for a second there on the coronavirus rules, I don't want to scare anybody. Though France still requires a vaccination card or a negative test or a COVID recovery certificate to enter the country, once you're here, on the other hand, you're free to roam. You don't have to show your vaccination card or your negative COVID test. And unlike France, there are around 20 countries right now in Europe, like Italy, where you can enter the country without showing a vaccination card or a coronavirus test at all. John and Haley, enjoy your travels in Barcelona.
Hey, thank you.
Bye. There they go. Nice couple there, over from Salt Lake City, doing the big European trip. That's what you gotta do. We got it on the flight now to Lyon from Paris. It should be a little short one. It's a small plane. And just a reminder, now within France, you no longer have to wear a mask on the flight.
Hello, bonjour monsieur.
Here we go, outside, breathing the French air. And I just missed the shuttle bus that takes you over to the rental car place here at the Lyon airport. But that's one thing I want to remind you about. Have patience when you're in Europe, and especially when you're in France. It's not only the airplanes that get delayed, but also everything in France. The French move at their own pace, and especially when you're here on vacation, you really have no reason to be in a rush. Oh, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm Gregor Brown.
You want to take a picture?
I love Sixt, and I'm sorry I'm late. The flight was an hour late.
Okay,
Here we go.
It doesn't matter.
Sabrina, merci beaucoup. Au revoir.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Sixt, they're so nice. Upgrade again. I think she gave me a race car. I want to tell you about something else. Hold on one second. When you're driving in France, you need to be very careful. This country is one of the worst places for issuing speeding tickets. Unlike the United States or maybe in some other countries, policemen don't hang out on the side of the road with radar guns shooting at you with their radar blasters. Here there are speeding cameras everywhere and they're all switched on. That's the difference with Italy. Italy has speeding cameras, but half of them are out of order. So here they all work and they're aimed right at you, so you need to pay close attention. And my advice is use the cruise control on your car. Set the cruise control to whatever the speed limit is. Always pay attention to the speed signs, the speed limits. Watch out within the little towns and villages because they put the cameras right there. I've gotten so many tickets in France, it's not funny. And somehow I always get one from each trip as a souvenir of my journey. France is more than just Paris, so get out there and explore, because you have the Alps, you have the Loire Valley, you have Provence. When you're flying into Charles de Gaulle, you might not just want to rent a car from Paris, but instead take a train, get out of Paris, go to one of the big cities like Lyon, like Marseille. The French train system is great. Even though I rented a car, what I did is I flew from Paris to Lyon and then I rented a car from there. Saves you a lot of time driving. Also, if you rent a car out of Paris, Charles de Gaulle, you're gonna spend a lot of time in traffic getting out of Paris before you finally get on these open, wide roads in the French countryside. I'm heading south out of Lyon towards Valence, and it is hot as here, 34 degrees Celsius, but this area is definitely worth exploring because you're heading down towards those big Alps, towards the Côte d'Azur if you go further south. France is a massive country and definitely worth exploring, and more than just Paris. And when I get to my hotel, I'll explain to you about what you need to know about eating and everything like that in France, and all about the hotels as well, so stick with me. I put it in a car garage, but you can park your car. If you have a hire rental car, you can park it on the street. You just need to make sure you're paying the meter. And the great thing on the street is you can save a little bit of money, because usually it's only up until 8 p.m. where they charge you, and then it's free overnight until around 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning. We're staying in Valence for 2 nights. I'm in this hotel here, nothing special, but it looks to be pretty good, and it's just a few steps away from the center. Now, a lot of times, if you want, you can save money on getting breakfast at a bakery shop down the street or going to a local cafe. But I reserved breakfast here in the hotel for the next 2 nights because I often find that you get the nice spread of fruit and everything you need in the morning. I get a couple extra cups of coffee. Here it wasn't too bad, the price. 15 euro. Now this is a pretty sizable room for a French hotel. I stayed in some bad French hotels before. This place has space to stretch out, and I do yoga every morning, so definitely I'll be stretching out on the floor right over here. I might just need to move this lamp and the chair. But you must bear in mind that all rooms in France are not this big. You want to make sure you pack light, pack compact. You get into a space and you don't have room to open up your luggage, or if you do open up your luggage, you don't have room to even maneuver around the bed. Now, some things to consider when you're staying in hotels in France. You don't have to show your ID when you check in, and now that's different than Italy, because when you go to a hotel in Italy, they want to see a passport or something. When you check in, they're gonna ask if you want breakfast, and if it's not included in the hotel room price, well then you need to figure out how much it's gonna cost. So ask in advance, or at least ask in advance before you're down there in the morning and you're chowing down, only to find out later it was like a 20 euro breakfast and it wasn't even that good, just a baguette and some bad coffee. But my pro tip is size it up. Whatever app you use, look at the hotel's reviews, but also check out those photos. You've probably already checked them out before you book the place to see what kind of rooms or what kind of bathrooms they have. But also check out what kind of breakfast they have before you commit to the breakfast. And the cool thing about France is going out to those cafes and getting a jus d'orange or a croissant and then drinking a little cafe and watching the French go back and forth to see how another world lives. Another thing too, it's hot out there. I opened up the doors and just a sauna air came at me. Check before you book the hotel to make sure it's air conditioned because France in the summertime is hot. Keep in mind when you're eating in France, now just look at these places out here, people out here on the terrace just enjoying the evening. When you want to dine out in France, they eat a little bit earlier than they do in Italy and even a little bit earlier yet than they do in Spain. So typically you can sit down for dinner at 7 o'clock in France. Also, be aware if you want to have a late dinner, if you're the type of person like a Spaniard who wants to eat at 9, 9:30, 10, well, you're going to have problems. Let me know if my French is correct. Je voudrais un verre de vin rosé, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, do you want to
Tu comprends?
Yeah.
Ah, my French is still working.
Santé.
Merci. So what I've done to make sure I have a restaurant tonight is I've used good old faithful Google, found the restaurants I wanted, I called a few. They were in fact booked, fully booked for tonight, so you really need to reserve in advance. I found another one, they had the Fork app, so I made my reservation with Fork, and then I called afterwards just to confirm. So be aware, if you want to eat at that place that looks good, that has the good review, make sure to call in advance, and maybe even 24 hours in advance. Drop a comment down below, have you been to France lately, or what's your favorite place in France? Which place do you want to visit? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you're getting value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to support me making all these videos, consider giving a super thanks. That'd be much appreciated. And subscribe if you haven't yet already. Click that red button down below, join the community. It may be difficult to get into the restaurants in France, but once you sit down, you truly enjoy the food. I remember my first trip to Europe was in fact in France. My cousin and I, we came over, we visited Paris. I brought my bike with me, I was dragging it up and down the subway system to his friend's place in Paris, and then we went down to the Loire Valley, and it was so cool. I rode my bike there, and then year after year, living in Europe, covering the bike races, the Tour de France every July. The race travels all around France, and you learn so much about the country, and you eat everywhere. You get to try all the different wines, all the different foods. If you like this video, also check out this video on visiting Paris in one day.